Sister Alicia here with another Fervent Servant video, and for this week's Teaching Tuesday, we're going to be talking about it being a time of worship. Y'all, it's time to worship, and today I brought my special guest. Hey, it's who?
Precious.
It's Precious, my friend and colleague, and she is a spiritual force to be reckoned with. So I invited her into this video so that we could talk about the importance of worship and why is now a time to worship. So our passage for this video is going to be John chapter 4 verses 23 through 26, and it reads, "But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." And the woman said to him, "I know that Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things." Jesus said to her, "I who speak to you am he." Y'all. I just want to get into this. The Father is seeking for such to worship him. He's looking for the true worshipers to worship him in spirit and in truth. But before we can even grasp the meaning of that, we must first understand what worship is. Precious, do you have any insight to what worship is?
Right. Yeah, so when I think about worship, I think about being in a place of reverence, being in a place of adoration, where you extol, where you exalt, where you lift something up and give it the ultimate, the highest praise or the highest attention, the highest regard. And so worship in essence is taking a low place and lifting up, in essence, the name of God, lifting up his name, extolling his name, praising his name, giving honor and homage somewhere. And so when I think about worship, that's what I think of.
Yeah, and I was even talking to her about when I'm at church and my hands are open. I'm kind of ready to receive here, but when my hands are up and my palms are out, I'm worshiping. I'm lifting, as she said, taking something very low and putting it. I'm lifting my hands up to God. I'm exalting his name. I'm making him big and greater than my situation, than my problems, than my thoughts, than my circumstances. I'm really saying, God, I need you to be the head of my life. I need you to be on this throne. I need you to be on this pedestal. And in this moment right here, I'm recognizing your sovereignty. I'm recognizing your nature. I'm recognizing your ability to show up and to show out. And so when God says he is seeking for the true worshipers, what does it mean to be a true worshiper? Some loaded questions, ain't it?
So when I think about being a true worshiper, I'm thinking about someone has taken a place inside of themselves inwardly and they really have sat down inside of themselves. They are honoring God somewhere internally, because he said to worship him in spirit and in truth. So if you're being a true worshiper, you're worshiping from the best place in you. You're worshiping from your entire being. You're worshiping from the depths of who you are, from a place where he can respond to. And so when I think of a true worshiper, that's what I think is someone who's laid themselves out. They prostrated themselves. They have pretty much they're like this. And they're saying, God, whatever posture, but in essence, you're laid out like this externally and internally, and that's a place he can respond to. See, everybody think God just responds to all type of worship. When you talk about going through the temple and what got God to respond, you talking about the incense burning, right? When you talk about the temple, the tabernacle, he responded to certain things that were pleasing to him. And if he talking about true worship, that means that's something that gets heaven to respond to me when I'm worshiping him.
That's right. And as you're talking, man, I'm just thinking about this word spirit, and I'm thinking about this word truth, right? We know that in the presence of the Lord there's liberty, right? Well, there's a fullness of joy. So I'm sorry. Liberty. But in his presence there's liberty and there's freedom, right? And so we know that the truth sets us free. So if we're worshiping the truth, then we're automatically liberated. We're automatically free. But what I'm also thinking about is the spirit, and we know that the spirit neither sleeps nor slumbers, right? And we know that the spirit connects with the spirit, and the spirit of God that's up there and the spirit of God that's living in us, they connect. So when he said, I need you to worship in spirit, well, my spirit connects with his spirit because his spirit is living on the inside of me, and it recognizes that spirit, it recognizes that fruit. When I hear about worshiping in the spirit, and then I hear about worshiping with truth, in truth, knowing that I'm going to be liberated and set free, that no bondage is going to be able to hold me down.
Yeah.
He's looking for somebody that's going to give an unrestricted praise.
Yeah.
A person that's going to lay down their will to lift up his will. Come on. Lay down their will to lift up his will.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I think about that, that's so good, because no one has to provoke you. No one should have to pump nor prime or pull it. You should automatically want to just reverence and give honor and to worship him like that. Because when you have that type of connection, you're not worried about anybody having to come along and say you should worship him. You should automatically, from your being, your spirit, from the inside, want to give him what it is on the outside. It's like an overflow. You're so filled up that it's just overflowing, that I just can't wait to give him glory, right?
Yes. And then I'm just thinking about verse 23 where it says the Father is seeking. It's a big thing when you know God is seeking. God knows all. He sees all. He's everywhere at the same time, but he's seeking for such to worship him. It just puts me in the place was it Abraham where he was, give me 25 people. Give me 20 people. Give me 15. Give me 10. Give me 5. I can't even find 5. You know what I'm saying? He's seeking for those that are going to worship him. Are you in a position to be sought? Are you in a position for God to say, that's who I'm looking for?
Yeah, that's good.
That's the one who's touching me. That's the one who I'm going to hear from. That's the one that is going to receive what I have for them. That's the one that's going to experience the fullness of my glory. That's the one. Are you going to be that one?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm just thinking about yesterday, the other day, my husband and I went for a walk in the park. And while we were there in the park, I just began to pray. And I prayed over any and everything that came to mind, over marriages, over churches, over ministry, over finances, over employment, over relationships, over just anything and everything that came to mind for myself and for you watching this video. And while I was there, God just reminded me, and he brought to my attention this, that right now what's missing in this hour, in this season, is those that are willing to worship. He says there is a call. There's a call for such to worship him. He says that is what's missing, and that's why our nation is experiencing everything that it's experiencing, because people have not taken time to worship me.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, I don't want to be that one. So God, right now I position myself in a posture of prayer and of worship to seek your face and to acknowledge you for who you are. And I put you back on this throne. And I began to thank him for all that he's done. I began to just acknowledge his presence. I began to look at his track record and see that he has never failed me yet. And he's never failed any of us yet. I began to look at who he is and his nature and his character, and began to just see how awesome he is and how great and mighty and glorious and sovereign he is in every area of our life, and how he's taken me from point A to point Z every single time, whether it was comfortable for me or not. And I began to say, thank you, God. You're worthy. You're glorious. You're honored. You're matchless in worth, oh God. And I began to lift him up.
Amen.
And he says, this is what I'm requiring, because people have forgotten who I am. They have forgotten who I am and began to put pride and honor in themselves and forgot that I'm the one who's delivering. I'm the one who sent my son. I'm the one who made the great sacrifice. I'm the one. And God is not a God of pride, but he is the one, y'all. He is the one. He said, in this moment, in this season, I need the true worshipers to rise up and to pray and to begin to exalt me, so that my spirit can go out into this earth and bring back in that which was taken, that which was stolen, that which was lost, that which was forgotten. What worship?
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. And I think it's so timely when you look at our nation and the state that it's in, the condition of our families, the condition of our just pretty much everything around us. Is because we've gone away. We've gotten away from worship. We've walked away from the Father. Yeah. Whether we've done it intentionally or not, right. We have. And I'm reminded of the text. It says the Father is roaming to and from throughout the whole earth, seeking a heart that's completely his. And so if he's roaming to and from the earth, seeking a heart that's completely devoted to him, can you be found? Are you the one worshiping? Can he look? You said he's seeking. Can he come find you seeking? I want to be found seeking.
Yes.
I want to be found on my face. I want to be found in a posture where, God, I'm in complete dependency upon you.
Yes.
As a little child depends on their parent, God, I want to be that dependent upon you in this hour, that I stay in a posture of worship, in a posture where my spirit is honoring and adoring you. I don't want to be caught doing anything else
Lord.
outside of pleasing him. And so when he roams to and from the earth, I just hope that he finds me in that place.
Amen.
In that place, it's a time for worship.
Amen.
It's a time to love on our King and get heaven to respond.
That's right. So this is just a call to action, y'all. Y'all know I just like to challenge us. But this is a call to action for all believers to take their position, to take authority, to really operate in the dominion that has been given to us. And one of those weapons of our warfare, you guys, the reason why the enemy is having his way is because we're not using the weapons that God has equipped us with. And one of those weapons is worship. So are you going to equip yourself to be able to defeat the enemy? What are you planning to do? I know what I plan to do. I'm in my Bible playing every day. I'm singing songs unto God and allowing him to dance over me. I'm expressing gratitude each and every day. I'm putting my goals before him so that he can bless them and make sure that they align with his will. I'm serving you guys. I'm giving up my tithes and of my offerings, you know. I'm giving time to individuals that are needing to be poured into. So not only am I being poured into, but I'm pouring back into somebody else. I'm doing those things that God is requiring of me. I'm lending my ear to him that I may be able to hear from him, and I'm positioning myself in a posture of prayer so that I can be able to speak to him and he can hear from me, because it's a two-way relationship. What are some other things? I know I probably took a lot of them.
It's okay. No, this is good. I just echo the same exact things, Darlicia. Just, we give of ourselves, and true worship is not about you.
Right.
Worship should never be about you.
That's
it should
right.
never be centered on who you are and what you do. It should always be to go back to give God glory and to give God praise. And I think the more you stay in that place, the more God can be glorified, the more he can be magnified, and the more he can be honored in our lives.
Yes.
We always seek to point back to him.
Yes.
No matter what the scripture tells us in Deuteronomy, it's him that gives you the power to get wealth. It is him.
It's him.
He is all about him. And so the more you point back to him, that's true worship.
That's right.
Everything you do, everything you gain, everything you get is pointing back to him.
That's
right.
Worship. That's right. Keep your focus on him. He is your prize. Keep your eye on the prize.
Amen.
His glory. It's all for his glory. And if ever it gets to a place where it's not, just take a moment, reassess and evaluate, and just get back on track.
And repent.
Thank you.
True worship. Just repent.
Thank you.
God, I'm sorry.
That's it.
I blew it. I messed up. I get it back together.
It's okay
I
to
turn
say
back
that.
around. I messed up. I missed the mark on this one, God. It's okay to say that.
It's okay to say that. She hit it right on the head, because that was another key component of that. We try to move past it without first repenting. And he wants a repentant heart. He wants a heart that can be molded and shaped by him, back on that potter's wheel, so that he can make it perfect and pure. So it's okay to say, God, I blew it. I messed up. I don't know what I'm doing. But guess what? God, I know that you know what to do. You know the right thing to do. And the word says, when I don't know what to do, I can look to you. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do in my worship.
Amen. That's good. That's good.
That's so good, y'all.
That's
so we
good.
just admonish you and encourage you and champion you and bless you today to say it's time to worship. What is the song of deliverance that you have on your heart? What is the dance of freedom that you have in your feet? What is that reflection that you have of a thing that God has done and delivered you from? What is that? And give it back to him. What is that situation that you're dealing with right now? What is that burden that you're carrying right now? Where is that area of unforgiveness that you have tucked away in your heart? What is that relationship that you've allowed to get out of control because you refuse to give it time and give it back to God? What is it? I can't speak to it for you, but you know exactly what it is, y'all. You know what it is. And guess what? The answer is repenting and worshiping. And if you have not seen Sunday's video, the MVP, I encourage you to go watch that as well. If my people who are called by my name, I'm going to give it all to you because you got to go watch it yourself. But I encourage you to take some time to give it all back to God, because you weren't meant to carry it on your own. You weren't meant to take care of it on your own. Okay? You are loved and supported, and God is for you. I want you to know that. And the enemy is defeated in the name of Jesus. So go forth in power this week. Take this message and go do something with it. Don't let it sit. Go do something with it, all right?
Amen.
You got anything? Last
Amen.
word?
You be encouraged. Worship him in spirit and in truth.
Spirit and in truth. We love you guys. Until next time. Bye.